That's the microphone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. This is Lumberjack Landlord here with my very special guest. Who's that? Who's this? That's you, Eliana. This is our little miracle baby. So for those of you who don't know, this is two of my kids. Yeah, you can have a chip when you leave. And this is Bryn. This is my other daughter. But these are two of the Lumberjack clan. But this little miracle baby just celebrated her first full year with cancer-free scans. All right, give me 5. Yeah, good job. We are so blessed. We were so thankful to the community for all that you guys have done and thoughts and prayers. We know the power of prayer, and so we are grateful to everybody that did that for us, for our family. It was absolutely amazing. And yeah, so now this big girl, she was diagnosed when she was 5 months old. She was given an 8% chance to live 4 months. And so she just celebrated 26 months. So she is our little powerhouse. And we are very blessed to be in the position that we are and having gotten the results that we did. So we are grateful. I wanted to open the show with that because I think a lot of times people can get lost in the shuffle and, want to believe, what they're believing about the real estate market and, Crash Bros and me and that sort of stuff. And so I just wanted to make sure to bring it back to reality a little bit more. And we are just very grateful that we got the result that we did for these wonderful little nuggets. Are you happy? Yes. Okay. I need you to go upstairs and find mama and get a snack. Yeah, you can go upstairs and go with mama and get a snack. Yeah, well, Dada is going to stay down here and do his live stream and answer questions about real estate. You want to go upstairs and watch Daddy on TV? Okay, sounds good. So we'll talk about real estate until the kids decide to get picked up or the lovely Mrs. Lumberjack and comes and gets them. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was, quite frankly, the shocking real estate market numbers that I'm seeing, kind of what we're experiencing right now, just kind of everything that's happening as we see this. One of the reports that just came out was Q1 numbers. Actually, it was a little bit more than Q1. It was Q1 plus April. So they came out in May, and I thought the numbers were absolutely shocking. Not shocking to me, but shocking to most. Certainly to the brokers and the agents and the realtors that we had talked about for quite some time. Are you having fun taking my stuff? And so when it's all said and done, here, hold on one second. We're gonna text mommy and find out how she let you little nuggets down here into daddy's studio. Okay, do you want to go up with Bryn? No, you still want to stick with daddy. Okay. So the numbers that I found really kind of shocking were transactions, and what we talked a lot about with the transactions, over the past year, and what we would see. Yeah, I know, a market. And what we would see happen with transactions. And what's really funny is that exactly what we expected to have come true, what I expected to have come true, it's actually coming true. It's actually come true. January, February, March, April. I actually ran some of the numbers. Do you want to get down and get that? Here. Let's jump down. Here, you can jump down and get it. This is daddy while you're live streaming. Oh, I hear mommy. Hi, it's okay. Hi, see you, bye. It's okay, I'll see you in a little bit. So yeah, so anyway, all right, back to real estate. They decided to escape. What I saw, and in fact, I'll actually bring up my chart. So one of the things that we track is single family, condominiums, and small multifamily, 2, 3, and 4 stuff. I talked about the fact that I thought that transactions from last year to this year, I thought that they would go down between 40 and 50%. Receipts, I've got them all on the channel. You guys watch all the stuff where I'm predicting market stuff. And I said, 40%, 50%, somewhere in that, transactions down, but pricing not really affected. So average home price still up, median home price coming down, but I explained what the difference is between median and average. Median, again, this is, how do you exit a conversation to meet up quickly? Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. But that is, as we look at that market, I wanted to share with you the numbers. So, and this is thanks to my good buddy, Rich Racine. If you are looking for a house in the Manchester area, Manchester, Goffstown, those areas in New Hampshire, Rich is a phenomenal agent. He's also an investor, so he actually knows how to qualify good property, and property that if you're going to buy something that you're going to get a good price on it, quite frankly. And so what's really cool is that the numbers have now come in, and I was wrong. Here are the numbers. In January, February, March, and April, total sales last year in Mass and New Hampshire, we look at both markets because I want to see how we're comparing to Massachusetts. Has Massachusetts accelerated, decelerated, etc.? But here are the numbers. Last year, Mass and New Hampshire, January, February, March, and April in 2022, the total number of sales, single family home, condominium, and small multifamily was 24,462. 24,462. So, do you know what this year's numbers was? Or this year's numbers were? This year's number was? This year's number is January, February, March, and April, 2023. The new number, 10,865. The market has more than halved itself. More than half. I was wrong. It wasn't off 40 or 50%. It was off closer to 60%. So I know factually, I see them. I see the brokers everywhere. Everywhere. Life has changed for them. I have talked to a number of new agents or agents that were in the last 3 years, and they're devastated. They have no idea what to do. And big surprise, they can't afford their lives because they have no idea how to actually manage money. And that's why if you're a real estate investor and you're looking at taking some broker's word for it that's been in the market a couple of years, you're talking to the wrong person. These people have no clue what they're talking about. And they got in on the fastest growing market in history, and they are completely out of their depth. And 99.9% of them offer zero knowledge of value. Truthful. So as you look at it, as you look at the numbers, again, 24,462 down to 10,365, 865, 10,865. Those are the numbers. How do you keep up? So I've talked to a number of agents this year. I said, give me your 2023 number, give me your 2022 number. Most of them are on pace for between 40 and 50% what they did last year. They're on pace for that. Here's the issue. These are the best selling months of the year. These are the best ones of the year. May, June, July, August. Those are the best ones of the year. And then closing in September. And then October slows. November goes almost to nothing or to half of nothing. And December goes to almost nothing. Those are only half two types of sales. So it would appear as though the crash bros were wrong because they kept on talking price. Because while we're seeing those crashes in numbers, guess what we're also seeing? No new inventory. Why are we not seeing any inventory? Because you'd have to be a complete moron to trade in 2.5% debt for 7% debt or 6% debt. Now, that's if you're choosing to sell. If you have to sell, yeah, of course, that's life. You have to sell. But if you're choosing to sell, then you're giving up the cheapest debt that you'll probably ever have. So if you have to sell because you are moving or you change jobs or you down selected or fill in the blank, all of those things are options. Absolutely. The thing to consider, again, is the fact that you're trading in 2.5 or 3% debt for 6 or 7% debt. And so you're going to increase your payment by more than 200%. And you're likely, house-wise, you're going to get maybe something a little bit better neighborhood, a little bit larger house. So I wanted to spend the first, like I said, 10, 15 minutes just kind of talking about that. The fact that these numbers are shocking. They are absolutely shocking, because usually when you see a drop of 50 or 60% in transactions, usually, and this is what the Crash Bros miss, because they don't actually do the work. They don't actually know what they're talking about. All they do is read charts that other people produced or walk a selected neighborhood. I actually heard of a YouTuber walking selected neighborhoods. He would look at the 5 or 6 developments in the area. He'd pick the worst one and he'd walk that one to prove his point. Dude, that makes you a fraud, makes you a poser, makes you a clown. Don't do it that way. Be honest. Share all the numbers, because that's what I do. I share all the numbers. I talk about my market. I talk about the general market, and then we drill down into these numbers. So transactions are down more than I thought they would be. They're down, 60%, 50 to 60%, as opposed to 40 to 50. But pricing, median pricing affected change, just like I said it would, but average house pricing is not really affected. It hasn't been affected. It just hasn't been, because the bottom is buoying everything up, even though the larger transactions are disappearing, because anything median price minus in markets is still flying off the market. It's still flying off the market. Small multifamily, I told everybody a year ago, the biggest records are going to be set in small multifamily, 2, 3s, and 4s. And guess what's happening? It's continued to happen. Every sale I see, 2, 3, and 4, guess what? The price per door is more expensive than the previous one. When you're scaling based on, or when you're grading based on a curve on the condition of the actual asset. So if it's fully redone, you can't compare that to a junker, right? Or a complete value add. That has to be a gut redo. However, on the margin and on grading on the curve, that's absolutely what's happening. So I am a 9th grade dropout. I am not an economist. I am a business person, I guess, by force, because I run my company. But the fact of the matter is that boots on the ground and being in my market every single day gave me the education when I saw things that were going to occur. And that's what's occurred. That's what's changed. That's what's not changed. That's why, for the most part, the market still hasn't crashed. It still won't crash. I said commercial would have a big, difficult time. Commercial's having a big, difficult time. There's some cities in the country where commercial office space is trading at 50% what it was 3 years ago. Amazing, right? Called it, but there was really no real way to play that other than maybe short an office REIT, but I'm not playing that stuff in the market. I'm playing with the actual physical asset. So something to keep in mind in your markets, continue to do the work. It's the median minus pricing stuff that's still flying off the shelves. But I got bad news for you. The word's out. Small multifamily has an absolute massive return on capital. And in most markets, that return is shrinking because other people have caught on. House hacking. Other people have caught on. That's the way to invest. Other people have caught on. That gives you far more safety, 3 or 4 people paying the mortgage, as opposed to one person paying a single family home. It's not to poo-poo any strategy. It's just to say, that's my strategy. That's what I've done. And that's why I've done it for the 22 years that I've done it. Small multifamily, fixed 30-year rate debt. That's where it's at. That's where it continues to be. My margins are in the 20s and 30s. Margins are absolutely fantastic. It gave us the opportunity to cycle through a bunch of properties that we bought that were value add. And we're getting towards the end of that. I said it would be a 2-year process. And so the stuff that I bought 2 years ago, that's all been, redone, re-rented in most cases. In some cases, it was a great tenant. We kept the tenant. But that's what you're going to continue to see in your market. You're going to continue to see pressure on those single family, on the small multifamily 2s, 3s, and 4s, because there's going to be a lot of activity on those. There was one that popped up. It was outrageously overpriced. He had 200 people through the 2 days of open houses he had. 200. Now it's going to go for under list. He wouldn't say what it sold for, what it went under contract for. I think he was $100,000 high. We'll see. If somebody put a 5 in front of that house that they bought, they way overpaid, because it's going to cost them easily $300,000, $350,000 to redo that house the right way, which means that person's probably going to be 900 into it. It might be worth that. I don't think it's worth that based on the room counts. But We'll see. That's why we play the game. So let's take a look at some questions, get into it, guys, because that's what I'm here for. I am here for your questions. Amafit, good morning. Good to see you. Morning, ladies. Yep, the kids are gone. That was an interesting dynamic. I saw my studio office door pop up and there were my children. My son, who knows where he is, and he's 5. But the girls, yeah, good to see him. Good to see him burst into daddy's office. It was a little lumberjack, Josh Burdick. That's true. Yes. Me with no beard is exactly what Eliana, the one who was sitting on my lap. That's what I look like. We all kind of joke about that because thankfully, and I love my wife, but thankfully she was blessed with my personality. It's going to get her in so much trouble. Richard Gamino, good morning, sir. Good morning. Laura Samaniego. Good morning, everyone. Congratulations, Eliana. They are beautiful. Oh, thank you very much. We have my wife to thank for that. We really do. My wife is absolutely beautiful. She is hot. Yeah, so we have my wife to thank for that. Let's see. Ned Talks. What's up? Good morning, sir. Vatzel. Hey, Lumberjack. How do you quickly exit a conversation at a meeting quickly? If you were asking like with my kids, I'm not really sure. I did it as gracefully as I could, but that wasn't going to happen. Eliana was quite objectionable about going upstairs and she'll let you know. As far as on the real estate side, I don't know. I think interested is interesting. I think I honestly, that's how I would change my perspective probably a little bit. I'm not much of a, I'm really not a feelings guru or mindset guy much. What I would tell you is, I think the best thing that you can do in a situation like that is try and get out of the conversation. Interested is interesting. And so I think that in those cases, I'll give pretty much anybody 5 minutes to burn my time, but making sure that I communicate one thing, and that is what I buy. What I'm looking for. And then digital business card. What I buy, what I'm looking for, digital business card. I did a video on the digital business cards. It's a huge differentiator for guys in the market. And when I say guys, obviously guys and girls. But it's a huge differentiator. And the reason it's such a huge differentiator is because so many people don't have it. They still hand out a paper business card. That is ending up at the bottom of the trash bin. No one cares. No one carries those anymore. They don't, or they take a picture of it in the phone, but what's that tell them about you, right? The best thing is a digital business card. I have a video on it on my channel. I have links there where you can literally go and see them. There's a few out there that are pretty cheap. They're like $20, but you can load your information on it and you can just literally tap somebody's phone, or they can actually take a picture of the QR code on the back and it pulls in all your information. It gives them buy box. You can literally tell them this is exactly the type of stuff I'm looking for. All that stuff is pre-canned. Your email addresses, your social medias, all of that stuff, all of it. That is how you build your network. I get people reaching out to me saying, hey, I've got blah, blah, blah. I don't remember who they are. We had one conversation together. But I always tell them, hey, I danced with the one who brung me and I'm happy to pay fat wholesaling fees. You just need to let me know what you got and I'll tell you how much I can pay you for a wholesaling fee. I don't subscribe to this is all I pay for a referral. I don't do that. I've paid on one deal. I've paid $50,000 on one deal. I've paid 50 grand on one deal. Yep. And I had no problem with it. No problem. In fact, they made a fortune on that deal because he got the 3% from the seller. Because he's an agent as well. He got the 3% from a seller, but he wholesaled to me. And I said, I'll just pay you $50,000 for that deal because it was a deal I really wanted. And I knew the property and I knew the area. And I'm like, yep, I want that deal. I don't want you to even shop it. And I said, you got to give me an answer tonight, but I'll give you 50 grand for that deal. And we did the deal, and I will share those numbers when I'm done that project, but that project should be finished in the next couple weeks, 2-3 weeks. I'll share those numbers. They're going to blow people's minds. I mean, that deal, forget about 20 or 30%. That deal will probably make 40 or 50%. I think on my money, maybe more. It's not to scold you or anything like that or correct you. It's more just I would change my mindset to making sure I'm able to communicate my buy box to this person. And then after, listen to the story that they're going to say. And then after that, and just say, hey, it was great meeting you. Please let me know anytime, that you have that. I have limited time, so I want to make sure to get to as many people here. So it's great meeting you. I need to make sure I talk to as many folks as I can, because I need to make sure that any of those deals that are coming around, that I'm getting them. So if you find anything like that, please feel free, reach out, let me know. I'm happy to talk to you about it. Let's see. Paula Silva. Good morning, Matt and everybody. Good morning, Paula. Key. Good morning. Dividend Dave. Hello, all. Going to Tacoma to hang with some real estate peeps. Very cool. Have fun. Ned Talks, drive safe. Paula Silva, congratulations. Precious kids. Yes, my kids are very fun. It's funny. I love them all. And then some of them are more fun than others, depending on what else is going on. Some are brutal. Sometimes they're brutal, and it's just like they go through a phase or a growth spurt or something like that. And it's just like, as a dad, you're just like, oh, I feel so bad for you and I love you, but oof, man, tough. And so a lot of times it's like my wife will go need to do something, and she'll say, hey, can I leave, one of the kids. We find when we split them up, 3 at all at once is tough. But when you split them and go 2 1s or 1 2s or whatever, it's actually pretty easy. Yesterday we did yard sailing, myself and the 2 older kids, Sam and Bren. We did the yard sailing yesterday by ourselves, and Eliana and mom stayed home, and we had a lot of fun. And I got home and Ash was all chipper, and I said, why are you so chipper? She's like, I'm not really sure. I go, oh, I know. It's like you only had 1 kid. So they're great. But yeah, thanks for saying. Robert Farinelli, you were right in small multifamily anyways. Yep. No inventory, less transactions, and prices up. Yeah, exactly. Buzz Tune, good morning. Happy to have you here. Look up, unless you selling to snowbirds. Yeah, even selling to snowbirds, again, they're not buying in the wintertime. They're down in Florida in the wintertime. And the snowbirds that are selling, guess what they're doing? They're selling tail end of the summer. That's usually when that happens. And then their transaction closes before they go down south for the winter time. So even when you're selling to snowbirds, it still follows. It just follows the later end of the seasons, but it still follows that for sure. Aloha from Hawaii. Good morning, Mark. Good to have you here. Robert Fairley, new record in Manchester, a triplex that was listed for 621 under contract. And I know the seller. I'm going to ask him about it. Yep. Yeah. I think that market's a little bit frothy. I don't love that market because that market's always the first one to go down. And it's usually the one that's down for the longest. But it usually peaks the highest, as far as rate of change, pricing wise. Let's see. Go love yourself. Good morning, Matt. Have you ever installed mini split in any of your properties? Yes, absolutely. If so, what brands do you recommend? So we have done a bunch of mini splits. We have installed, I believe it was, let's see. We've done a bunch of them. It was, all right, let me see. It was higher. Hier. Yep, Hier, hires. We've done hires. Daikin, Daikin. Daikin is we've done those as well. Mitsubishi's haven't done maybe we did those once. Didn't love it, but yeah, hires is what we've done the most of hires and Dykens. It's a lot about service. Do you have a local, do you have a local firm or our local, company that services those and is like some sort of a platinum sales or service? The reason why you care about that grade is because it's how much of it they sell, and how much of it they service. If they're like a service, blah, 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 like a service elite member or something like that, you'll actually find that they probably have all those parts. So it just means you can get better service. And that's what the name of this game is. Landlording is a service industry. And so you have to make sure that you can service what you sell or what you install. So great question. Flash of light. Good morning, Matt. Any update on the shopping for Las Vegas and your supercar? So shopping for Las Vegas has sucked. We had a little dip where some stuff was coming on the market. The more luxury stuff has come down a little bit. But with the rates being what they are, it would have been cheaper to buy 6 months or a year ago. And so I'm not rushing it. I really need an actual correction. And I know I'm not going to get it kind of median minus. I'm really looking for a deal on a luxury property that somebody needs to dump quickly. So I believe where I'm going to get that opportunity is through my agent, Brian Lebo, who's absolutely amazing. He's got his own channel, the Lebo Group on YouTube. Check him out. Always stop by and give Brian some love from the Lumberjack Landlord. Great guy, and great agent. Does a ton of volume. But where I really believe I'm going to get my deal is somebody that contacts him and says, hey, we got to get rid of this thing like really fast. And then it gives me the opportunity to do a really fast cash deal or seller finance deal or something. That's kind of the goal. So I'm not rushing it because it's a second home. If it were an investment property that I was looking to buy and invest and use as a rental, I would approach it completely differently. Frank Contreras, good morning. Look up what city state for what? Michelle Meyer, good morning. Andy Borch, morning. I noticed a bit of mold buildup near the trim of a wall in my finished basement. Okay. Right next to a pillar that probably runs cables or pipe, not sure. How would you deal with that? So the key for any of that stuff is you don't know that it's mold. And that's not a disrespectful statement. That's a factual statement. You don't know it's mold and you don't want to test it. You can test it. It's up to you. But how we treat it is a little bit different. We don't know that it's mold. And if it's just a small little spot, what we start doing is we open up those spots. We open them up. We're always, masked and making sure that the space is well ventilated and all that good stuff. But we're masked. And then we just start pulling it apart. Again, that's us. That's our company. It's for us because we're the owners. And so I don't know what your state laws are. So always observe those. However, that's how we get started on stuff. That's what we start doing. Hold on one quick second, guys. One quick second. As always, I have guys working in the field. So, yeah, we always have guys in the field Saturdays and Sundays. We have weekend warriors that we like to support. Now, to be clear on what a weekend warrior is, it is not somebody that only does stuff on the weekends. It's somebody that does it 5 days a week. They work for another company and they need to make extra money. So I respect the hustle. And so they work Saturdays and Sundays. And so those Saturdays and Sundays, guess what we do? We have work for them. And they're in vacant units and things like that. But we always want to support the hustlers because that's what we are and that's what we do. And recognizing that we get to give them, less money, but they keep more of it. I'm all for that. Sam Farho, if an applicant says they don't smoke on an application, how to check if they actually don't smoke before accepting them and it is too late? So if they say it on the app and they lie on the app, there's really no way to do it. There's really no way to actually check it. That's in the land of you can't get that far. The only thing that you can do is you can you can try and get close to them and smell them. If it's wafting off of them, they smoke. If it's not wafting off of them, they might be around someone that smokes and they might be moving. The only thing that you can do is if they do in fact smoke, I mean, there aren't many apartments that you can't get rid of that smoke smell with just a complete and total lock-in paint job, unless they're there for years. And if you go and inspect the unit after a month and it smells like smoke, I would give them a warning and in writing. And then if they don't comply, then just make sure your lease says no smoking. And then if they don't comply, then you evict them based on that. But there's no real way to do it outside of that. Robert Finelli. So what's going to happen to all these people who are overpaying when next reassessment to small multifamily? I see them getting more weight than other classes and people getting hurt. I think so. I mean, I think in New Hampshire, where taxes are reevaluated twice a year, you get an assessment and then you pay your tax bill based on that assessment. But then every year they play with the rate or they reassessed, and it doesn't matter. It's always going up. So when they say, oh, well, the tax rate went down, tax rate did, but the assessment went up. So the net cause, my taxes were higher. Taxes went up, assessment went down, taxes go higher. Consistently, they continue to go higher because most politicians are morons and they spend like it's not their money, because it usually isn't. Even though they might be one of the taxpayers of the district. So that's one of the things to kind of always keep in mind is, yeah, I think that there's going to be certainly increases. And that's why if you're buying thinner margin deals, the thing to think about is that, if you go and you're making $250 a month, and let's say in New Hampshire, you could have on a 3-unit, you're on a 3-unit, your property taxes could be $9,000. They could be huge, $9,000. Your taxes could go up 10%. We'll call it a little bit more, and that's $10,000. So $1,000 spread over over 12 months, you're talking 80 something bucks a month, call it $80 a month. If you're looking at about $80 a month on a triplex, you probably should have been making 700 or 800. So while it cuts into your profit margin, it shouldn't leave you upside down. But that's where people that are doing deals now that don't know New Hampshire, like people from Massachusetts that don't necessarily know New Hampshire and how they account for taxes, yeah, they're going to be in trouble, but it's usually just less margin. It's not going to make a deal a loser or so much of a loser that you have to sell it. It's usually going to make it a marginal loser. If it's that, little piece. What area? Look up, if you're talking about what area Robert's in, he's in Manchester, New Hampshire. That's where he is, Manchester, New Hampshire. Craig. Hey, Craig. Good to see you. It's been a while. Transactions down 25% locally. Yep. Minneapolis metro area. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Median price still up. Interesting. Market time is creeping up. Sounds right. Jury is still out. Market's still in transition. Haha. 10th grade dropout myself. That's why I remember you. I remember you were in Minneapolis and we are in the dropout club. Not what we recommend for our children, but life was different for us. So yeah, Minneapolis, that's interesting that median's still up. Obviously nationally it's down. It's down 9.6% nationally. But again, that's median. And it's because largely the top end disappeared and move up buyer largely disappeared. So it all became kind of the battle of the middle price houses and down, and the lowest houses keep on creeping up and getting more expensive. Cheaper markets are getting more expensive. They're not getting cheaper. It's fact. That's what's actually happening. Look up, y'all likely know what area Mr. Matt is chatting about. I don't, I'm new to the channel. All good. So look up. Yeah, it's New Hampshire. New Hampshire is really comprised of kind of 5 key markets, I would say. there is the coast, which is where I'm at. There is there is what's considered southern New Hampshire, which is or middle New Hampshire, which is Manchester and Nashua. Those are the big cities, Manchester, Nashua, Concord. Those are all in one area, kind of in the middle, southern middle of the state. Then you have the west part of the state, which is completely different, might as well be worlds apart. That's more like, a little bit more like Vermont than it is New Hampshire, except with, more commonsensical rules. And then you have the next tier up, which is kind of lakes region, lakes, mountains, Lake Winnipesaukee, mountains region. But there you have a lot of some of the state's highest income producers are usually in lakes region. They're usually lakes region or right on the coast, because a typical transaction on the coast, a nothing house, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch in Ryan, New Hampshire is like $1.2 million, $1.3 million. They're crazily priced. But yeah. And then you can go to like Berlin, New Hampshire, which is about 15 minutes from Canada. And you can or maybe 15, 20 minutes. But in Berlin, New Hampshire, you can buy a triplex for 50 or 60,000 bucks. But that's a tough area to be a landlord. Josh Burdick, Zuber shared the story of Pace and Jamil getting scammed. Did you see that? I didn't see that. I didn't see them getting scammed. I didn't see that. I think Pace is brilliant. I don't hope any investor loses. I don't. There's more than enough to go around and we can all win. What I don't know is I don't know how his strategy is going to play out long term. That's why I'm interested to see. Let's see here. Yeah. Sorry, guys. 1 second. New contractor. Let's see. So yeah, so I didn't see that they got scammed. I have never met Pace. I've never met Pace. I've never met Jamil either, actually. Never met either of them. BuzzTune, thanks for all my content. You're welcome. Happy to. Little kids, little problems. Big kids, big problems. True story, Julie. True story. Sam Farho, if Section 8 is paying close to 100% of rent, should I care about the credit score? Yes. And what else should I be paying attention to with the applicant of this tenant? You need to care about the credit score because that's an indicator of if they pay their bills. They still have to pay heat. They still have to pay electric. They still have to pay hot water. They might need to pay water sewer where you are. They might need to pay for trash where you are. But you want to make sure, yes, for me, I want them to have income. I want them to have income. Yep. I have an income requirement, unless, of course, it's something where it's, they're disabled. But the thing to really consider or the thing to really think about is I need them to qualify based on the rules that I have that everybody has to qualify for. For me, it's 680. For me, it's 3 times the income. If they're 100% covered or 95% covered, they need to have something cover the amount of money that they owe. I literally have somebody who has trouble paying me the $50 a month. That's her part. It's a joke. It's a complete and total joke. It's ridiculous. She still has trouble. And she's one of my serial complainers. It's that ridiculous. So yeah. Landlord Odyssey, good morning, Ready on. Congratulations, new father. Lars Nielsen, good afternoon from Europe. Hey, Lars, good afternoon. I'm deployed with the military and I'm trying to find second rental. However, prices have increased. Yep, beyond the down payment that I can afford now. How would you enter a new market? That's a guess. Yes. How would I enter a new market? It depends. I mean, I do all the market research. I don't think there's any shortcuts. I think that you have to, you know, I do the same. So when I felt like deal flow is slowing down for the markets I was in, because I'm in smaller markets, I do the same thing when I start looking at the next town. I like proximity. Dion and I are opposite in that regard. He wants everything, 20, 30 minutes away. I don't, because I self-manage and I go to all that stuff and I want to know the market economics of it. And so of the area. And so my 137 units aren't further than 20 minutes apart. Doesn't follow instruction very well. Mental note. Gosh darn it. So yeah, so I think that I enter how I enter the market is I start literally with my rent box. I need to know what rents are there. I work it backwards. I don't start with what my buy box is. I work it backwards. I start with what's my rent box? What can I get for rents there? What's the quality of stuff that's on the market? What's the, because if I see a bunch of A-class stuff, that's not that's really, really nice and people spend all the money redoing and the numbers are less than what I get for the town next door, that's going to kind of be a problem when it's like I'm getting less, or so it depends on what the town is that I'm entering. But long story short is I start with my rent box and I work my way backwards. Rent box did a video on my channel. Check it out. It's also extensively in the course. I cover that for about 45 minutes in the course talking about the rent box, but the rent box is critical. Understanding what things rent for. I don't care what things sell for. I care a combination of what they sell for and what the cost of my debt is. But mostly I care about what's my income going to be. How many of you go into a job asking, how much is it going to cost me to get to this job every single day? No, that's not how I do it. I care about one thing. I care about how much income can I make there? Okay, cool. I can make that much income. Great. Now I need to work backwards and say, if that's how much income I'm making, now I work it backwards to figure out, okay, what's my cost in order to bring in that income? I'm a value investor. Everything I do is backwards in the respect that I want to see how much money something's going to pay me. And then I figure out what's the least expensive way that I can do this, following all of my systems to make sure that we're curating a great experience and a great product, but that we're able to do it in a position where we show great margin. Now, if you do it the opposite way, I think if you go looking at what you're trying to buy and then figuring out, generally speaking, what rents are, I think the challenge with that is that you very often don't know your market as well as you should. You're not even really looking at rents that much. You're looking at the mortgage and then trying to figure out what's rents are. No. Everything I do is driven on rents. Everything I do, because that's my income statement. Everything I do is driven on rents. I want to know, like in Gary, Indiana, they don't include appliances there. That is shocking to me. But I get it at the price point of the house. If you can buy a house for $75,000 and a typical kitchen costs you $4,000, you're spending 5% of the cost of the house on appliances. Here, it is standard that we include all appliances and that they be there, right? So that's standard for us. And so that's really where the big play comes into place, quite frankly, is I'm doing everything based on my rent box and I work it backwards because that far more quickly teaches me the market. I want to know what the absolute number is for me getting rent out of that unit. I think when you work it backwards like that, I think you make amazingly more or higher level or higher dollar amount on your units because it's all based on what your revenue can be. And I also recognize that if I'm looking at something and I say, I get to know what the market is, that way, if I find an asset that is underpriced, I don't know if it's underpriced or not. I don't know if I have to spend $200,000 on the rehab in that building. What is my ceiling for when I get this thing done? You know, what's stuff renting for there? Because I don't really have to worry about rents going down. They might marginally go down, you know, percentage points, but that's not the difference of my making money or not making money. The difference is I want bigger numbers. So for me, it's rent box backwards, not buy box forwards. It's rent box backwards. I want to know what, you know, I CEOs first and foremost focused on revenues and then the cost of getting that revenue. And that's what I do. I look at what does it cost me to get the revenue? Let's see. So that's what I would do. Ned talks, use Mitsubishi in our office building. Maintenance is a nightmare. Ta-da. Yep. See, so that's why we use them once. Mitsubishi, it's kind of like their cars. Their cars for a long time have not been awesome. They've been difficult when it comes to maintenance. And for us, it's we pick and we will buy better and higher ended brands. And the reason that we do is really focus on one area and one area only. The reason that we focus on it is every single time that phone rings, it costs me money. So if it's a tenant calling saying something's broken, costs me money. It cost me time, which equals money. Then I got to reach out to the vendor. Then they get something scheduled and then it's never fast enough for the tenant. And I get that. I wouldn't want to not have air conditioning or heat either, but there's only so fast that I can respond. And they're not my beck and call girl. They are going to pick up the phone and answer, and they're going to get me in their schedule when they possibly can. And so that's what you really have to be focused on. That's the nature of the beast. And so if I can pick the right product, spend maybe a little bit more money, this is one of the things that we talk about in my course. Guys, I cannot begin to tell you how valuable that is. There is not one person in that course that wouldn't tell you that they saved the amount of the course in the first 30 or 60 days if they were already landlording. If they haven't bought anything yet, then it's kind of tough to do that. But I'll save them from making any big mistakes based on what they're reviewing in the course and how to evaluate a house and how to look at an inspection report and that sort of stuff. So this is the stuff that's really, really important that I teach in my course is picking the wrong brands. I'm not going to put something like that on YouTube and blast different vendors and brands, but that's something that I feel safe doing in the course and talking about. This is who they are. This is what they do. This is how it is to get their stuff serviced. This is how often it breaks. And I'm very clear in there because I own 600 appliances. 600 appliances is how many appliances I own. 600. So we buy a lot of appliances. We buy a lot of pretty much everything. And that's where I can give you, here's my example. Here is my experience. That's why I can share that with you, is because we're big enough where we do enough of it with those products where I can give you an idea. There's one brand that's actually killing me right now. They're absolutely killing me because I bought a bunch of their stuff 5 and 6 years ago and stuff is failing. Stuff is failing, or fixes are $400 and $500 on $1,500 and $1,800 units. That's not good enough. That's a garbage brand. Now, that's in the course and I share it. And that alone will save you thousands of dollars. Yeah, Daikin. Yep. Daikin's a good product. Right on, Ned. Right on. Daikin's a great product. Rob, morning, Matt. Good morning. The King of Gary mentions that you and he are looking to do a joint deal in Gary. Care to talk about that at all? Yes, Rob, we are. No, I don't care to talk about it. I don't know. Yeah. No, I'm not going to talk about it. But yeah, we've talked about something outrageous. Yeah. We've talked about something outrageous, awesome, stupendous, ridiculous. It's all those things. But yeah, yep. Mike and I have talked in depth about that. We have. Brandon Bernola. Hey, Matt. Hey, Brandon. Thanks for asking a question. Your advice saved us from buying a commercial deal. Okay. Thanks for that. Instead, we're about to recycle money from our first rental 4-unit into another 4-unit. Awesome. Good for you. Good for you. That's awesome, Brandon. I'm really excited for you guys. That's great. That's fantastic news. I always get scared when people say you stopped me from buying a deal. I'm like, oh no, because I want people to buy deals because I know it's the fastest way to financial freedom, but you got to buy good deals. Good deals. You got to buy good deals. Don't compare your year 1 to my year 20. You're not going to average in the 20s and 30s as far as margin goes. You're not going to start there. Way it goes. That's it. Burr strategies are really, really hard. I wouldn't start there either. Become a landlord, go through the process. When somebody vacates, you can handicap it for yourself. If you have a 3-unit and you have somebody vacate and you've taken my course, guess what? I teach you in there. Here's the huge value add stuff you guys can get if you do these things, and it's a few $1,000s. It's only a few $1,000s. You'll see that you'll get much more for rent, and you'll see that the appearance of the place is something you're now likely far more proud of. Those are the types of skills that I want to teach people, because I believe that there's a million people that teach how to buy. There's fewer people that teach how to keep, and there's even fewer people that teach how to actually properly manage. And when you properly manage these assets and you properly manage them over a period of time, you can't help but make money legitimately in any market. It's all about how you're managing those assets and making the right decisions every step of the way to get that increase in capital and the reduction of cost of management of that unit. To be very clear, I originally made it for people that only self-manage. What I've realized is in doing this, and I thank my students for this, there were a number of people that outsourced to property management. You know what it did? It made them a whole lot smarter where they can question their bills and pay attention to their bills. Property managers need managing just as much as tenants do. They just do. They make mistakes on invoicing. The person in the office has no idea how much something should cost. And so the guy comes back, and that's a profit center for them. They pay these contractors. They're on payroll. It's a profit center for them. They make profit off of those people fixing things. Do they fix a sink, or do they just replace the faucet? Well, fixing it would have taken a half an hour because it was just a washer and it was just this. It just need to be taken apart and put back together by somebody who actually knows what they're doing, as opposed to just a faucet replacer. And the new faucet costs $200, or they go the other way and it's a $75 faucet. It's a piece of junk, and you're going to be replacing it in 2 years anyway. These are the kinds of mistakes that my course teaches you to avoid and stay away from. Sammy Farho, Section 8 husband and wife said that they will apply. Then I received the wife application and said the husband is not going to move forward with them. Then I didn't reply. Then after an hour, she said, change of plan, he will apply. Is that a red flag or just an issue between them? I received husband application 2 days after. It would make me uneasy if they're playing some sort of a game like that. I would call, after you get their documentation, I would call housing and ask them, are they on the same voucher? Is the voucher for them as a family, or is the voucher for them as an individual? That's one of the things that I had no idea occurred, because I didn't used to do Section 8 housing, and now I do. I've done it for 2 years now. So I've not done it for any crazy amount of time. However, I have more Section 8 units than Dion and Mike combined, because that was a part of the market we purposefully went into based on the part of the business I was trying to build. And so I've learned a ton about it and had more interaction with housing than most people I know, based on that being a new target market for us. Now, that being said, key and critical, that being said, I have learned a lot. And one of the things I have learned is they play games sometimes on the application. Either way, he has to be on the lease, because if he's not on the lease and she is, that can create a huge legal issue down the path. So make sure that whatever adult 18 and older is staying there is on the lease. REI Stoners, morning, Matt. For a first deal, would you entertain the idea of using FHA to a 3K loan? I absolutely would. Yep. I didn't on my first, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I did it on my 5th or 6th deal, But I would look at a 203K loan. I would also look at a 203K streamline. And I would also, I would look at a 203K loan and I would look at a 203K streamline. Those are both the products I would look at. This is the kind of market where you might have a hard time getting anybody to bite into that, but you also have a shot now because some stuff, depending on what range you're looking at or quality of product, might be sitting. But that's up in the air. Richard Gamino, you're exactly right, Matt. I just seen an interview with Meet Kevin had with Barbara Corcoran. She said Washington State is a place she's looking for 3 to 15 unit multifamilies. Yeah, everybody wants to get in that small multifamily game. The difference is in that if you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 units, VA goes up to the 5 units. After that, it's commercial debt. And so it's not 30-year fixed rate debt unless it's a DSCR loan. And so the DSCR loans are based solely on the income and your credit. But the debt's much more expensive. It's usually 1.5 to 2 points more expensive. So if a normal rate's 7, that's 9. If a normal rate's 6, that's 8. But yeah, small multifamily where we are, it goes on the market and it flies off. That's why everything I'm trying to do off-market deals. It doesn't have to be seller financing. I'll do a deal however the seller wants to do it, but I'm looking for off-market deals and as many as I can get in my area. And in fact, I got a deal that was really good that came across my desk in another area. I handed it to another investor. He's like, "Just going to give it to me?" I go, "Yeah, I don't want it." I go, "The next one that you get over my area and you don't want, give it to me." He goes, "Fair enough." I was like, "It's fairly easy." Lilac Heroes. I got a fair housing complaint in the mail saying my property manager denied renting. Oh, dear God. I got a fair housing complaint in the mail saying my property manager denied renting to a disabled person with kids and a dog. This was 1 year ago. Total BS. How do I answer? I would be talking to your property manager. You would need all of that information because you need to understand exactly what happened. If they're a property manager worth their salt, again, not to beat a dead horse, but this is the stuff that I teach in my course. Fair housing, I would be shocked if we ever got hit with fair housing because we follow the rule. If anything ever did happen, it'd be a misinterpretation of something because we hold people to the same credit score. We hold them to the same, 3x earnings of the rent that's due. We hold everybody to the same standard. No evictions in the past. It's still a free country, mostly, and we get to set our criteria. The challenge becomes when communist states like California decide that they want to start, doing protected classes. You can't say no to these people. You can't say no to these people. You can't say no to these people. The problem is that I don't come out of the gate trying to say no to a potential renter. That's counterintuitive. I want my unit rented. What I need is criteria hit. I need that criteria hit because if you have a 680 credit score, you are very likely to pay your bills. If you have a job, you are very likely to pay your bills. If you have a job that is local, you are very likely to stay local. If you have not been evicted before, then you have no idea about the process and you're not going to try and game the system. The problem that we have is there's a number of, and what you have to look at is not actual evictions. You have to look at how many times that person might have been brought to court. Does their name show up in the court in the court ledger? The reason I say that is because I have people that I got them to leave, but I didn't get a final eviction placed on their record because they left and they turned things over to me, but they still hadn't paid. And the landlords, shame on them. They didn't call me. Now, did I think that tenant actually used my name? Nope. But that means that they said, "Oh yeah, we don't even bother checking landlord references. Just whatever you have is fine." Here's the thing. I know the guy's credit was in the 500s. They didn't check his credit. I know the guy's a complete and total a-hole and he calls the city all the time. They didn't even call the police to ask them, "Hey, is this somebody that you have? Is this somebody that's proven to be an issue in the past?" Nothing. They deserve exactly what they're going to get, which is a garbage tenant who's a total a-hole. And he spends his life making others miserable because he has nothing better to do. So, and you know who you are if you're watching my channel. And I didn't use your name on purpose because you know who you are. BuzzTune, do you have any career advice? Any skills that could be developed in the job market to raise pay? Trying to think of ways to earn more for a down payment. So BuzzTune, it depends on what you're into. Gary V and I, while he's shorter and more handsome than me with a worse beard, and also hundreds of times richer, we were raised largely the same way. I didn't work in the family business because we had no family business to work in. But we did the same thing when it came to like sports cards, learning markets, things like that. Learning the housing market was just a little bit different for me because it was housing. I collected Matchbox cards. I collected sports cards. I could see value in things. And so sports cards was huge for me. I love sports. I loved watching sports. That was scouting reports, watching players come up. You know, I still bet on players now where I'll buy a bunch of their rookie card. And, you know, then I like the last big blast for me was Rafael Devers. I bought a ton of his stuff cheap. You know, now his rookie card, $8 to $10 a piece, and I paid less than $1. So that's the kind of work that I do, but I love baseball, or I loved baseball. I don't love it as much anymore. But hockey, football, I watch a lot of hockey. I watch World Juniors tournaments because I like having it on in the background. But what are you good at? What do you like doing? And then find a way to just monetize that. My kids and I teach them capitalism. We go out to yard sales and we look for stuff that they like, but there's makes no point in walking to a store. My kids get a charge now out of, hey, daddy, we saw that in the store and it was $25 and we were able to buy it for $2. Yep, we did. And my kids love it and they absolutely are thrilled by it. And there's a hunt level to it, you know, like literally Matchbox cars. I've really got some on my desk. And all those behind, those are all classics. Those are all late 60s, early 70s stuff. So I love that stuff, but it's something that I love, that I enjoyed, that I collected, that I could also monetize and either A, pay for my quote unquote habit, or B, it was a way to make extra money. The other thing too is that you're probably good at something. I don't know what you're good at. And leave the illegal things out. But I found stuff that I was good at. Sometimes it was just pure labor. I mean, when I was a teenager, I hustled. I did lawns. I did a paper route. I didn't do one. I did them all at the same time. I did lawns. I did paper route. I did baseball cards and hockey cards, selling that stuff in memorabilia. I did a bunch of stuff. And so it really comes down to, what are you passionate about? And what you're paid for is either a skill, right? Where it's like you can become a really good plumber, you can become a really good whatever, fill in the blank. Or you're paid for knowledge. The plumbing can also be a knowledge thing. But if you're like super into whatever, Dion did gaming. Dion loved gaming, but he would play and do all that gaming stuff. And then he'd sell off the assets that he would create in the gaming area. You know, Mike could, Millennial Mike, he could do stuff. Me, I've done small business consulting because I run businesses. So I can do that. But it really comes down to, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? What do you have next level information about that other people don't, that has value? You know, there are, collection appraisers. You know, years ago, I could do that easily. I could walk in, I can appraise somebody's collection. I could say, yeah, it's probably worth about this. Now I'm so too disconnected from it. So I use people and I'm just like, are we in the ballpark here? But there's all sorts of stuff to do. Just find something you're passionate about, something that you're good at, something that you enjoy doing, and then it won't feel like another job, but it is a good way to create additional side hustle. Ned talks, REI owners, 203K is awesome in my opinion. Yep. If you can get it to work. Yep. Absolutely. A lot of sellers and contractors are hesitant with FHA stuff here locally because requirements are annoying from what I've seen. Ned nails it. Requirements are extremely annoying. Requirements are extremely annoying. They're very difficult. And literally the contractor has to be willing to wait to get paid because they don't get paid until they're done. And that can be different in some places. And in other cases, they have to front some of the money. So it can be a challenge. Thank you, sir, for area and grid explanation. No, you're very welcome. Look up. Appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. Thanks for the answer, Matt. What kind of contractor would I need to do such a job? Open the mold. Yeah. We say mildew. Use the word mildew. Remove the word mold. Use the word mildew. In fact, I think in Florida, you actually can't use the word mold unless you're actually certified in mold. No joke. I've never done this myself, so I don't want to risk making a mess. Well, opening up the walls usually isn't Indy's not going to be a huge issue. I mean, you could call a contractor. If you call a remediation company, you could literally be looking at $1,000 or $2,000 for them to find out that's a very small problem. Because you don't know it's mold. You don't know. Don't know until you test it. Stephen Coyote, is anyone finding deals that will cash flow? Yes. I get deals weekly that create cash flow. Literally. I don't close on them all, but I literally have deals daily and weekly that come across my desk that cash flow every single week. If you've spent 6 months in your market and you're not finding anything that cash flows, first thing I do is I change asset classes, Stephen. That's the first thing I do is change whatever asset class I'm looking at. If neither one of them does, then I start looking at a secondary market. I like Dion's approach of like just getting further and further away from where you're looking. So you start off with a circle this big, and anything that falls in that circle is something you'd look at. And then if nothing in that circle cash flows, bloop, out to here. And then if nothing in that market cash flows, then bloop, out to here. That's what I would do. Sound effects not included. Legacy up. Good morning, operators. I love that word. I had a lease that said no smoking in the home, but you can smoke in the garage. Yep, you can do that. Challenge that you'll find is very often the garage will then stink and then you'll have to repaint that. And that's fine. I would charge the tenant for that. But if you give them permission to do it, it's kind of hard to charge them because they're like, well, you would know that if I'm going to smoke in the garage, guess what? It's going to stink like smoke. And then it's kind of on you. That's what kind of sucks about that. Ned talks, my market is super messed up right now because insurance is so screwed up. Yeah. Same with, Florida's the same. Yeah. Rates are literally 2 to 3x from a year ago due to Hurricane Ida. Yeah. It's crazy. Lots of small multis bought in the last 2-3 years are break even or cash flow negative now. So our market is seeing prices adjust. Conservative buyers did well and are excited for the deals coming. Absolutely. Yep. Deal cash flow here in New Orleans. Yeah, that's so true. And that's the thing is people that are overspending and people that are undisciplined, somebody walks a house and they think it's a lot of money if they spend, well, if we redo this 3 units, it's going to cost us $100,000. Nope. Not if you're doing kitchens, baths, floors, stripping to studs, updating electrical, updating plumbing. It's way, way, way more than that. A lipstick job is 15 to 20K, a real lipstick job, So they use these numbers and then they bank approves them. And then they're like, I'm not going to have enough money. We did a project where our budget was 225 and we came in at 300. Now I share that with you to say it happened to me. And why did it happen to me? I priced everything out based on what our pricing was. As the project went on, we don't buy the windows in the very beginning. We buy them after all the outside stuff is done, inside stuff, and inside stuff has made progress to the point where it's like, I don't want sheetrock being put in because something can slip out of somebody's hands and boom, smack the window, crack the pane, boom, $225, $250 to replace it. So that was one of the things we did later. Well, by the time we got to windows, guess what? They were 100% more expensive. 100% more expensive. It was asinine. 100% more expensive. Siding, same thing. We waited to do the siding on the end, on the outside. The original quote, $12,000. And I'm not going to squeeze the contract and go, well, you gave me a quote, it's $12,000. By the time we got to siding, it was about 6 months out, doubled. He's like, man, I don't know what you want me to do. I go, I can't have you. I wouldn't ask you to do it for that number, even if I could force you to do it for that number, because I don't want you going out of business. I need you around because you're a good contractor. I need you to keep on doing stuff for me. help me out, do the best you can. Like, can we get to a 50% increase, 60% increase? He goes, Matt, materials are more than double. And so we worked it out, and I didn't obviously pay twice the price, but I paid enough. And as you look at things, it was like $10,000 budget on Windows. There was one special part, STC 35s, which is basically you take decibels, you minus it by 35, and that's what the allowance sound is going to come through that window. Here's the issue. Those products didn't double. Those products tripled. My window bill went from $10,000 to $30,000 for that one project. Nothing I could do about it. It wasn't foreseen. I'm a 20-year veteran of doing this. I've done this 100 times, but I got because I couldn't control the market. And I'm not a big enough company where I could hedge the cost of them. It was what it was. Worse yet, I couldn't have the windows, not for 4 weeks. It was 16 weeks. It was 4 months. Think about that. What does that mean? That's carry cost of 4 months. That project in particular was $125 carry cost a day. Our typical, project is 90 to 120 days on a full gut, and like full gut, everything, all systems replaced, all wiring replaced, all plumbing replaced, kitchens, floors, walls, studding, insulation, windows, siding, roof, gutters, everything. Usually 90 to 120 days. Because of all the supply chain problems, it took us 15 months. So I was burning $3,500, $3,400 a month in carry costs. Yeah. So in carry costs alone, it cost me, $45,000 in carry cost, $40,000. That was part of the $100,000. That was painful. If one applicant fills application for others, like wife does it for husband, is that a red flag? How do you know who fills them in? So they have to sign it. They're the ones who have to sign it. If it has somebody else's signature on there, or the signatures are the same, meaning that they sign two different names, but they look like it's the same writing, that's a flag for me. That's how I look at it. The way that we do it is we do it digitally. So the only way that it works is we send it, one person, it goes to their email, another person, it goes to their other email. That way, if they do something on their end, I can't tell the difference. But guess what? Then it's flat out, you signed it. That's what you agreed to. They say, well, no, I didn't sign it. My wife signed it. Dude, your signature's right there. Digital signature. We sent it to your email address. If you decided to let her do that, that's on you. But in a written form, that's going to be much more difficult because you'll see the difference. Any judge will look at it and say, yeah, it's not his signature there. That's what I would watch out for. That's why I like digital. That's why I like digital for all those contracts. It makes it easy to manage, makes it easy to forward to the contract, makes it more difficult to fraudulently do something. Wandering Doc, Olaf of Puebla, Mexico. Good for you, my man. Good for you. Frank Contreras, Matt, Section 8 tenant, will you renew her lease? Are the eviction rules the same for Section 8? I will not renew her lease. I won't. Nope. I won't renew her lease. 60 days. I can't give 30. I got to give 60. Yep. I give her notice, and I give housing, something called a HAP contract. I give them both notice and let them know that in 60 days, we won't be renewing. And the reason that they're more inclined to move is because the HAP contract gets canceled. I mean, or basically it terms out, right? And that's what pays the bill for them. So if that bill's not getting paid, guess what? They can't stay. So that one, it actually makes it easier. Because you can just say, yeah, we chose not to renew the lease. Or in other cases where Section 8's gotten so far behind in pricing, in other cases, we raise it to market. because we say, hey, based on all the other units that we have here, we're raising that unit to market rent because it's way under. And then it's up to them if they want to renew at that number. But often they won't, often they can, but sometimes they won't. If they can, then you have that tenant, and then you have to basically start with a 60-day, a different way. You basically have to say, don't lie. I have to revamp the unit, or I have to upgrade the unit. Expect if you're going to revamp and upgrade that unit, and that's what you're posting as the reason for asking them to leave, you better do it. Don't lie. We don't lie. We actually will tell them, hey, we're going to rehab the unit if we're actually going to rehab the unit. If we're not going to rehab the unit, we just are honest and say, this is why we're telling you to get out. Pretty straightforward. So yeah, so I won't renew her. Bones 1318 is Naka recommended. I don't know I don't know how you're using Naka. I just want to make sure before I answer it. Bones, but welcome. REI Stoners, I asked what it will cost to get work because I'm a merchandiser and I have to drive a lot. Beautiful thing is my company pays my miles. Nice. That's awesome. Lars Nielsen, great answer. Thank you. You're welcome, Lars. Appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. Wood Floor Alchemist. I like it. I'm in Wakarusa. I hope I got that right. Wakarusa, Indiana, which is pretty close to Gary. And the last two rentals I had, one didn't provide appliance and the other lens appliances. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, I don't know Gary at all. I know that all of the ones that Mike has, that he doesn't provide appliances for any of them. I wish that were the standard in my market. Oh my goodness, would that make my life a whole lot easier? Because we don't get a ton of calls, but I'd say on average, once a month, we get a call about an appliance, sometimes twice. So I would say probably 15, I'd say 15 to 20 calls a year is what we usually get for appliances. And sometimes it's super simple. Sometimes it's dead, and sometimes it's just something simple, or sometimes it's a $400 part, which is made by that horrible company that I talk about in my course, where I can be completely transparent and honest and open about exactly who and what they are. Stephen Coyote, I have a question for you guys. $30K to invest in my first house, but I also have an 8%, $28K home loan. Would you pay the loan off and save up again, or sit on that money? If it's 28K left, Stephen, on a 30-year mortgage, I would not pay that off. Even though it's 8%, you're paying almost all principal right now. With how that's amortized, you've paid that 8% likely for some time. I can't give you advice just because I don't know enough about the situation, and I don't give financial advice. But if I were in your shoes, I think 30K is cash is more important to me than debt that I have at 28% or 8% at $28,000. I'd look at, what that monthly, if you're looking at the 28,000, I would look at how much of that $28,000 monthly payment is going to interest. Cause I bet it's not 8%. Likely. Wandering Doc. I'm guessing stove, washer, dryer, and some unit dishwashers. Stove, microwave, refrigerator, washer, dryer, and dishwasher. 6. So I have 137 units. So if I owned them in every single unit, I'd be at whatever, 700 or so. But I have a majority of them that are washer, dryer, microwave, dishwasher, and fridge. The minimum that we have in any unit, the minimum is stove, dishwasher, minimum is stove, microwave, and fridge. That's the minimum that we have. Yep. Ned talks. Question regarding mini splits. My section 8 units make 750 to 925, depending on if upgrade or not. Considering upgrades from window units, Daikin's are like $4,000. I'm torn if it pencils. It doesn't pencil. It doesn't pencil, not at those numbers. Nope. Nope. What I would recommend doing is I would take a subset of your units, take 1, 2 units, and then do them up, kitchen, bath, floor, light configuration, maybe doing a 2-head split on 2 of the units, one that could go to a bigger split. But that's how I would pilot it. And I'd look at those numbers. If you're not paying electric, I mean, they'll be paying electric but again, maintenance, use, etc. So you don't love maybe the way that the windows look, the window units look. I get it. I have a $1.4 million, fourplex. They're all townhouses that have window units in them. And for me, it's, I don't want to put that system in there, something else I have to manage and take care of, and have room for all of the, condensers and fans, and just for me, it doesn't seem like a fit for me. But I would take always experiment. I would take a couple and experiment. Can you get 1050? I just don't know that you don't cap out, and is 925 the max that they'll pay, Section 8 will pay. Wandering Dot, I've spent way more of my personal time on my property managers than I did self-managing. It's not even close. Wandering Doc, I find it offensive that you have not purchased my course yet. And you're the only person I would say that to. Because I know that I can save you time and money. I know that I can. There's no doubt in my mind. This has been consistent. Wandering Doc is a great investor, but he owns, and he owns stuff all over the country. In fact, yes, all over the country. So my idea of how to manage those assets is different. And he goes through he's been through a number of property managers since we've started talking. I'd say at least 3, if not 4. That's not good. That's not good, because you're having to fire them over reasons, and the reasons that you're firing them are taking time for you to manage it anyway. That's where I think you need to completely revamp your process and do something I call in-sourcing property management. We in-source it to ourselves. So I don't pay somebody just that's there to pick up the phone. I don't pay somebody that is there to listen to a tenant. I don't have to do that because I have processes set in place where all of that work still gets done, but I don't have to worry about doing it. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I had my first Dion. I lost my place. Sam Farho. Let's see. Oh no, sorry, Ned. Would a cheap Amazon 500, 800 mini, $1,200 to $1,500 total installed? That's a throwaway when it breaks, and better alternative for lower end units than a good brand. See, I don't know. I haven't used those cheaper ones in fear of that, like a Mr. Cool or something like that. I always pilot stuff. We piloted the emergency rental assistance program. We took 10% of our units and said, we're going to pilot this program and see if it works. Section 8, we piloted the program. We did it with different towns. Some towns suck, some towns are okay. But we pilot everything. And then we say, this is going to be part of the strategy moving forward. So in all honesty, I don't really know. I don't know what Mr. Cool costs, but it says you can basically do it all yourself, which means essentially a handyman could do it. And then you just need a professional for 2 parts of it. So I've looked at that option to see if that might meet the need. But for me, generally speaking, I'm fine with them having a window unit. And we've already upgraded electrical, so I know the window unit's going to be fine. Sam Farho, do you refuse Section 8 applicant when you find any lie, whether small or big, or you think about it and it may not be a big deal? Any downside of setting up Section 8 year lease for 2 to 5 years instead of 1 year? So check your local laws. If you set a lease, you can't raise their rent. That's a problem because you're locking yourself out for 5 years of rent increases. Section 8, I raise their rents every single year because that's what rent control teaches me to do. They're controlling how much I can charge for an asset. I am going to come back and I'm going to get my max every single year. That's what I have to do because I don't know if that's going to change. If next year it's going to be 0 or if it's going to be negative, well, then I missed out on something I could have been getting for a year. And I don't know what you guys are looking at, but all the margins that I see, you need that extra 50, 100 bucks, 150 bucks a month. You need that. It can be a whole extra month. It can be, an additional 8%. So yeah, I absolutely do that. As far as lies go, you have to know that it's a lie. If you're going to deny them based on that, you have to know that factually what they said is a lie. REI Stoners, I found a deal that cash flowed, but the seller just signed year leases way under market rent, so I had to pass. Exactly right. Great discipline. Well done. That happens. We had a building that we were going to buy, loved the building. And when I asked for the leases, they sent them over and 2 of them stuck out like sore thumbs. He gave a restaurant a 5-year lease at $750 a month. I'm like, yeah, okay, basically you're eating there for free for the next 5 years. I get it. But that unit's worth 13 or 1400. So you took almost half market rent. Well, now we have to adjust the price downward. When I adjust the price downward, guess what? They didn't want to sell anymore. Fair enough. You don't have to sell. Andy Borch, thousands for a potential small problem. Oh yeah. When you start involving people with special licenses, it gets very expensive very fast. So as you put it, again, this isn't mocking. This is truly just, I want to make sure I'm speaking back to you exactly as you put it. You call somebody up and say, I believe I have a mold problem, and it's a mold remediation company. It's going to be in the thousands. They might say, yeah, we'll come out, we'll do a free blah, blah, blah. But then they'll say, well, we have to make a report because we find that it is mold. Or they'll talk you into the $350 or $400 mold test. That's the special test that they run, and then it runs to the lab. I guarantee you start going with people like that with the pretty vans and the TV commercials. I make a big joke about my dumpster company because my dumpster company was the best in the state by far, in the tri-state area. They were phenomenal. Then they got bought out and their new company sucks. And they pay for all these super expensive public advertisements, billboards, TV commercials, team sponsorships, idiots. So guess what? I know that what does that do? That costs money. I like the smaller operations where it's just guy, truck, dump fee, or dumpster dump fee. The big ones are truck, customer service, sales rep commission, truck, dumpster dumping fee, TV commercials, social media manager, marketing manager. All those things cut or add to cost and cut profitability. That all costs money. I don't need the guy that's sponsoring the local sports team. What I need a quality vendor who keeps his costs low because I'm trying to keep my costs low and just gives me, generally speaking, good service. Suddenly I'm no longer worried about making a mess. Exactly. I'll use YouTube University to see what I can find out about it and update you on the next stream. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Now, again, use caution, watch as many YouTube videos as you possibly can on that topic. But again, mask, Tyvek suit, go overboard. Go overboard on protection. You want to, because you have no idea if that little spot that's showing there might go back 8 feet in the ceiling. You have no idea. But all of those things for me, for my own home, for my own properties, I do that. I'll go in there. Somebody says, oh yeah, hey, we got a leak. Oh, or we have a spot on the ceiling. I'll go in there. I'll take a look and pull stuff back. I want to see what we're dealing with here, and know if it's an issue. Keith Hager. Hey, Keith. It is starting to break loose in our market. More buyers. Yep. Than there are listings. Yep. Everyone who has a 275 or 3 locked rate are just hanging on. Totally agree. It's exactly what I said was going to happen. It's exactly what's happening. It's so true. Sam Farho, what are your most common reasons to deny applications? Lies, credit score, income. Yes. Lies, credit score, and income. Those are the most common. The most common because really the three biggest, most important things to us are income and credit score. Income and credit score are the most important thing to me. You know, they just are. And it can't be just income because you could have $150,000 of income and be a total dumpster fire when it comes to actually paying your bills. And you could have a 700 credit score, but only make 40,000 bucks a year, or 750 credit score, but only make 40 grand a year because you drive a car that's paid off and, you know, you really pay attention and keep your credit. I had a Section 8 tenant that had a 716 credit score. She works hard. She pays her bills. She's great. She's great. You know? Ned talks. Lexi, the wife, saw some Instagram on countertop stains. What is the Neolith stuff that doesn't stain? I never heard of it. I don't remember. The stuff that we use is a food grade epoxy. And so if there's ever damage to the counter, we can always sand it and re-epoxy it, which is what we love about it. And it's a pour and drip thing. So you literally just pour it over and it settles over and drips off the edges. And then when it does that, then it dries. And then all you have to do is basically sand the underside of the edge or chip it away with a sharp chisel. It's very, very easy to do. And then stain wise, I would stain it first and then I would just epoxy over it. Just make sure you have a stain that can be epoxied over, which is usually most of them. Wandering Duck, I think stoves go out the least. I had one go out with 4 units in Hawaii over about 10 years. Yes, and the reason why is most people don't cook every night. They just don't. Yep. So the fridge is constantly running, right? It's constantly running, constantly having to keep cool, whether it's freezer or fridge, it's constant. So that's where, yeah, that's where, quite frankly, that's what I would kind of expect. Yep. Stephen Coyle, sorry, it's a personal loan at 8%. I only had it for 6 months. Got it. I wouldn't pay that off. That's me. I wouldn't pay that off. I don't know your financial situation. It's not financial advice. I don't know all the things going on in your life, but what I would tell you is $28,000 at 8% is far less daunting to me than zero cash because you'd be spending your 30 to get it to zero. So I much rather do that. And hey, seeing as how like Hyder's not here this morning, Dion's not here this morning, Millennial Mike's not here this morning. See the kind of friends I have? It's awful. Let's get those likes up. I just saw that it was 33 and there were 230 views on this. 33 likes? The hell? Just kidding. But get the likes up, please. Wandering Duck. I probably replaced 3 or 4 hot water heaters. Yep, 4 refrigerators and 5 washers or dryers total. So you're buying the wrong appliances. You're buying the wrong appliances. I can tell you that based on those numbers you're buying, and you're buying the wrong hot water heaters. Wandering Duck, you need my course. I can fix that problem for you. REI trainer, howdy. Do you, I don't know what LTNS means. Do you do garbage disposals, or is that, nope, I don't do garbage disposals. Nope. That's okay. You're always fine. Nope, I don't do garbage disposals ever. Wandering Doc, I have a couple with dishwashers and drain incinerator. Yep, garbage disposal. Yep, if I could help it, I wouldn't include these. I would literally pay to have a garbage disposal taken out. I hate, no, Nope, absolutely not. Dividend Dave, there he is. Thanks, buddy. Oh, and thanks for the likes. We went from 33 to 43. I appreciate that. Even though it should be 100 and something. Wandering Duck. For my small rental portfolio, it's literally I hear nothing for 11 months and then 2 or 3 calls, major things happen in a span of a couple of weeks. Right. You're right. I should check it out. I've been leaving the service and moving full time, traveling around Latin America. So I've been slacking on the real estate. Just sold the alligator. I remember. I only have 3 properties, 4 units rent wise, but I'm guessing people with smaller portfolios are benefiting from your course, Matt. People that are smaller in long time no see. Oh, Ari, yeah, long time no see. Thank you, my man. Guys who are smaller portfolios, 10, 20. If you're still watching, tell him if the course has helped you or not. There's no doubt in my mind that my course, full disclosure, is $1,000. The boot camp is $500, which is definitely going up in price because of all the value we provide. That boot camp, we did 2 hours a week for 12 weeks. It's 24 hours of small group accountability and consulting. 24 hours, and all the sessions are recorded so you can watch them. Huge value. Alyssa M, I'm a little late, but I'm here. Hi, Alyssa M. Alyssa M, you were in my feed, and you are a rock star. I swear, freaking Karch Karai over there, like literally jumping like Jordan. Just levitation situation, unbelievable volleyball athlete. I think she's a great athlete, period. But unbelievable volleyball athlete. And like I said, she came up my feed and I was just like, damn, she is literally floating. Missed that one. Good. Yeah, you gotta, honestly, REI, you get, or Wandering Doc, I'm sorry. Wandering Doc, you get my course. There's no doubt in my mind. You save money. You're picking the wrong, all due respect, you're picking the wrong appliances. You can absolutely manage those times where you're getting the hiccups a whole lot faster. Look at the syllabus. There's stuff specifically in there about appliances, how I teach you how to manage them, how you got to get things. So you're not like run. I got to fix this. I got to get this. I got to take care of this. You got to have that stuff in place beforehand. I show you how to do all of that stuff. It'll be worth its weight. It's a fortune. It'll save you a fortune. Landlord Odyssey, how to get a seller to allow you to market units of a property before you actually close on during the time after the property goes under contract. Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. In all honesty, Redion, I wouldn't want to do that. Oh yeah, we're still doing boot camp today. Heck yeah. In 22 minutes, boot camp today. Today's the next to last session. I was gonna surprise you guys and give you one more session, but today's the next to last session. I can't do the course, but I have to get my first rental first. That's fine. JNYC, that's fine. There's actually people in the course that haven't bought their first rental yet. Literally, because I'll teach you how to do 6 or 7 different things that allow you to back into your rental. That way you know that you're getting a great deal, not just think you're getting a great deal. Redion or Landlord Honesty, I would not focus on getting them rented before the transaction's done. That person could very likely see what you market it for, the fact that you got it, and then they could potentially just kill the deal. And that's one of those things where I don't think it's that important that day one you be rented. I think it's that important that day one you get into the units, make the adjustments that you need to, and then get it rented at a higher number. So you see more income coming in on a monthly basis. That's more what I would, that's what I would do. That would be my preference. BuzzTune. Thanks, Matt. When listing a rental, what can be done to protect against scammers, theft, knowing the unit is vacant? I don't give the address. I give an approximate. Here's about where it is. So I don't give the address. Then they don't know. I don't share pictures of the outside. I share pictures only of the inside. Or I might give one picture of the outside, but usually not. So most of my stuff, I don't share the address, and we save all that. I give a general area, but that way it's like, even if it's within like 2 or 3 streets, the area at that point. So that's what I did. REI trainer, thanks for the long time no see. Sorry, totally missed that. Shirley W. Hi, Matt. Just joined. Been looking at listings that say seller financing available. I love that. How does that usually work? Can I ask for a lower rate? You can ask for anything you want. How long do seller fin loans usually last? So the cool thing about seller financing is it's entirely up to you, Shirley. It can be a 1-year interest only. It can be a 5-year interest only. It can be a 7-year interest only, 10-year interest only. Then with a balloon payment at the end of 10 years. It can be a 30-year. Maybe they're in their 50s and they want to hold the thing for another 30. Then they say, you know what? I believe I'm going to be alive in my 80s. So I'll just give you the 30-year mortgage and it amortizes like a normal mortgage. But they're going to want some sort of an out clause usually that says, hey, you know, we can give you X days notice or like a year's notice. Then the only challenge is, do the numbers work at what maybe the then current rates are? So that gives you a ton of flexibility when they're saying, hey, we're willing to offer seller financing. I love seeing that because that means that they're likely already educated about the process and they're probably deal makers. And that's a good thing, but rate could be whatever. I've gotten deals, seller finance deals at 7 based on the price, and I've gotten them at 2 based on the price. So I've seen both. Dividend Dave, can you refinance from an FHA to a conventional loan to increase a property's cash flow? Yes, you can. That's all about the rate though, but yeah, you certainly can. Yep. You'll have to hit all the criteria, you know, like, the LTV criterias and such, but yeah, it's all about, you can absolutely refinance. So I did that a number of times, bought with FHA, refinanced to conventional, and then went and bought the next one FHA. I did that multiple times. Brock Boudreaux. Hey, Brock. Hey, Matt, I plan on taking your course. Love to hear it. Do you go into great detail about how to be your own GC? I do. I talk about all of the stuff, right? Which is, here's how to manage the process. Here's how to manage contractors. Here's how to manage code enforcement people. That's the big one. That's the big one that a lot of people don't talk about. You know, you need to know how to work with code enforcement because if they find out that you're cutting corners, or if they find out, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we cover in there. So yeah, we absolutely do that. I'll regardless take it. Yeah. But how you manage rehabs? Yeah. Something I really want to learn. It's absolutely in there. Yep. It's absolutely in there. And then boot camp, we kind of go more in depth. We go like more specific projects. So like Landlord Odyssey, he's had his specific project and we've talked about like floor plans. Robert Farinelli, he's had like specific, like, hey, this is how the heat system is set up. Should I switch it like this or switch it like that? And I give him the pros and the cons because I'm not trying to sell him anything. So I can say, hey, based on what I'm seeing here, I would do this or that or the other, etc. Literally 2 more minutes, guys, because I got to jump off. I got a couple of things I got to do real quick before my boot camp starts. My alligator was an HOA. Of course it was. And that sucker is long gone. Good for you, Keith. HOAs can absolutely crush you. And that's exactly the problem with HOAs. HOAs can absolutely crush you. And that's what makes me so sad about HOAs, is that you can literally see an HOA double in price because of special assessment, or they do a special assessment. And it's like, no, we're not going to raise your monthly. We just need you to pay us $7,000. Kid you not, had an HOA. One of my deals was my first deal. It was my first deal. Condo, had an HOA, got a letter in the mail, special assessment on the building. My part was $70,000. How's that for a cucka-burger? It was a cucka-burger. Yep, 70 grand. Sam Farho, people talk about quartz as the strongest material, but it's manufactured and heat sensitive. I hate quartz. I think granite is way stronger. What do you think? Yep, I hate quartz. Yep, I don't like quartz. Quartzite is a little bit of a different product. I don't like them. I don't like them. Yeah, I don't like them. I use a very specific stone, which is called it's called a leathered granite, not polished. It's called leathered, honed, rough, whatever. But I like that granite a lot more. And again, Sam, I'm not saying it hasn't happened to you. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but in 137, in like 4,000 tenant years, I've had somebody put something on the counter that damaged it 3 times. And because of the unit that it was an expensive unit that they had to pay. For Dividend Dave, $1.99 for giving me an awesome new house hack strategy. You're very welcome. Hopefully I'll see you in the boot camp and we'll talk more about it. I paid to get the garbage disposal out too. Very smart, Laura. Those cause clogs. They break. Somebody can be dumb and stick their hand in because it automatically kicks on because it was stuck and somebody's trying to adjust it. And then, I mean, no. I want regular plumbing and you can throw out all your trash. Period. End of story. If you're on a septic or a leach field, absolutely that too, because that absolutely kills those things prematurely. Because people will just put anything down there and not everything can go down there. So guys, as always, I really appreciate the time. It's always great to hang out and spend time with you guys. Please make sure before you leave that you hit that like button. When you cancel out of this, just give me that quick like. I'd really appreciate it. For those awesome people that are in my boot camp, I can't wait to spend some time with you guys in about 15 minutes. If you guys have any questions, as always, post them in the video. I'm happy to get to them kind of afterwards. I'm trying to get caught up with YouTube, but we fixed the problem that I had with my course with answering questions. And so I'm trying to get it caught up on all those that are in the course first. I used to listen to music while exercising. Now I'm listening to the past live streams. Matt, really appreciate everything. BuzzTune, I'm excited that you're on the journey. I'm excited you're on the journey. I'm excited to be there with you. Excited to do this with you. I think that I know that you can do it. I know that anyone that works hard and puts the effort in, I know can do this. I've literally seen people say, hey, after 3 years, I finally got my first deal. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. Keep on plowing ahead. Now, I wouldn't wait 3 years to do my first deal only because I would have changed markets and gotten into a market that was actually going to make me money. Because I think that that's too long. But you might have your own reasons for that. So I'm super excited to do that. Chesla, we are coming to visit you. I love it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited. That's the best. I'll be in the boot camp for a bit since I'm meeting peeps in Tacoma. That's all right. I understand. Oscar, thank you, Matt, for your time as always. Oscar, you're very welcome. All forms insurance agent. Many insurance carriers offer assessment allowances. So please let me know if you would like to know more about this. I add it for all condo owners. Thank you very much for the offer. I no longer own a condo. But if you have a channel and you guys see All Forms Insurance Agency, check him out. I don't know who he is or who she is. But I jumped on it because I jumped off of it because this was about 20 years ago and I won't own anything with an HOA after that because I've only ever seen horror stories. And if it was special assessment or even if it was, holy cow, we're going really fast. That's growing 15, 20, 30. It's growing too fast. Andy Borch, you're welcome. Dividend Dave, we'll see you in a bit. Awesome. You guys have a fantastic week. Go kick some absolute unbelievable ass. I'm going to be putting out some fire videos this week. I'm going to talk to you guys about the emergency rental assistance program and rats. I'm going to talk to you guys about rats. Oh my word. I can't believe I ever have to talk about this stuff. Rats. BuzzTune, I appreciate the super chat. Thanks very much. I'm looking forward to being part of your journey. This is going to be awesome. We're going to kick some ass together. How long do you commit buy box until you choose another? 90 days. 90 days I want to before I start making offers, and then another 3 to 6 months of making offers. So I'm 6 to 9 months, but I'm looking at multiple asset classes in that same market. Single families for me right away, the first 30 days, 20 years ago or 18 years ago when I got into this market, I looked for 30 days and I was just like, none of this stuff pencils. It's all garbage. It all doesn't make nearly any amount of money. So I then went, okay, what's the next asset class? I don't want to go to commercial because I don't want to be a commercial landlord. What's the next asset class? Small multifamily, 2, 3s, and 4s. Oh my goodness, untapped market. Holy Toledo. These numbers are ridiculous. And then I've just been making hay cents. In my market, I was buying small multifamily. I was buying duplexes. I paid 155,000, 179,000, 175,000, 168,000. I paid all of that for duplexes. All of those duplexes, the least expensive one in the group is worth 480 now. 480. That's the cheapest one now. Now that was 15 years ago, but that's time, right? So now that $730,000 worth of real estate is probably worth about $2.5 million. But I didn't buy them for appreciation. I bought them because at that time they gave me my greatest cash flow. They were all in the teens, and that's what I bought. So for a duplex, 60 days, then move on. Yeah, I think so. Well, no, I think that you're learning your rent box for 60 days, and then you're starting to, or 60 to 90 days, and then you're starting to make offers on duplexes. And your market might not have a lot of duplexes. And so that might be just something that you constantly stay in tune with. But I want to see where there's also flow. The idea of single family homes is that there's a ton of them in any market. Now, maybe a lot of them aren't for sale. Duplexes are very hard. In my market right now, there's less than 10 for sale. And big surprise, they're either pending or all well overpriced. But I look at dupes, tries, and quads. I look at what I can get 30-year fixed rate debt on as an asset class. Yeah. Yep. That's what I do. Bones, thinking to buy the course. I hope help me get into the right property. It needs to be California where I live. That's fine. First time home buyer with 770 credit score. Bones. Yeah, you got the numbers. You got the numbers. You just gotta know exactly what are the things that I need to consider. What are the things I need to consider? And that is likely going to be for you, for anybody, is a value add flip, or not flip to sell, but a value add flip to flip from current state to the new tenant. We did one. We bought it. We bought a 6-unit. Somebody was in there renting for 1025. They had a 1-bedroom voucher through Section 8. It was a 3-bedroom. I said, listen, I'll give you 90 days, but I still need the unit back. And he just said, I'd love to stay. I said, okay, $2,000 or $1,800. He's like, well, my Section 8 only does 125 or 1025. I said, that's why you got to go. Sorry. Did, left. We spent $18,000 on the unit. Rents went from 1025 to 2200. 1175 I make every single month on that unit. Exactly how I did that unit and the entire process I did, those are the tenets of what I share in my course. In mine, there's 9 to 12 multifamily available anytime. Interesting. Okay, different debt structure, definitely things that you have to, that it becomes much more of a maintenance thing that you really need to better understand. And also, you don't get 30-year fixed rate debt unless you do a DSCR, but you can do a DSCR usually close to that size. But if you say 9 to 12 are available anytime, the most important thing you can do, JNYC, is be shopping for debt, i.e. the person that's going to be able to take that loan, and looking at all the numbers. I'll share a couple. Steve Dow, Velocity Mortgage. I would call him Steve Dow, Velocity Mortgage. I would talk to, I don't have his name on me, but Lima Capital, or Lima One Capital, another great resource. There's another one that I have too, that Convoy is another one. But I would be looking at, if you can get 9 to 12s, and that's what the market's showing you, what you need to dial in is, what will my debt cost? A. B, is there a value add opportunity? C, I need to know everything I need to know about how to manage those assets, because 9 to 12 is a big building. It's no joke. I only own one of those. The reason I only own one of those is because they're very rare where I'm from. And so when one comes up, it's like swarm. I stole the one I got. I bought it for 1.3. It's worth $2 million a year and a half later, but it's because I improved the rents from 11,000 to 17,000 a month. That's one asset. So hopefully that helps. Thank you, Matt, for another awesome YouTube University best class. Thank you very much, Sam. Guys, have an awesome week. Now I definitely got to go. I got 6 minutes. Have a fantastic week. Kick some ass. I love to hear the stories. Post comments. Let me know how it's going for you. I really do want to know, because how it's going for me, I just share with you my story. So have a great week, guys. We'll talk soon. And for all of you guys looking at doing the course, please look at the syllabus. Consider it carefully. I'm not saying that $1,000 isn't a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I just believe that it will bring you a significant value over that and make you a better landlord, and start you from a position of not making all the mistakes that I made. Because I can promise you this, it cost me a lot more than $1,000 for all the mistakes I made. So appreciate you guys. Thumbs up on the way out. Have a fantastic one. Great week. We always try and create great content for you. Make sure you hit that like, but if you haven't subscribed, what the hell, why not? Have a great week, guys. Take care.